Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I have been in the mortgage business and in real estate for over 34 years. I've helped over, 5,200 folks finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one size fits all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping customers find the best possible financing. I am an expert at building credit and increasing your credit score. I have a passion in helping you create a generation wealth through your real estate.
And I almost forgot to say, we are recording today from the Advisors Mortgage Group studio right here in downtown Carmel. And as we get started, if you have any questions on real estate, Indy's real estate market or mortgages, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today we're really excited to have Andy Ludlow on, and you're with eXp Realty, correct?
That's correct.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And, what's your best contact information if somebody wants to get a hold of you?
My phone is with me 24/7. I think I sleep with it even. It's 317-372-6147.
All right, perfect. And
So Andy, what'd you do before you got into real estate?
So I did a few different things. I was actually a mail carrier for quite a while, from 98 to 2011, so about 13 years. And then worked on my own with selling things on eBay and Amazon. So I had an online e-commerce, and then got into real estate. I've been in real estate for 20 years. I've had rental properties, flipped homes, and been licensed for the last 8.
So was your motto rain, no rain, no sleet, no hell, keep you from delivering?
Something like that. Yeah.
now that's hard on your body, right? Delivering mail.
Why I got out of it. Yeah. I've had 7 knee surgeries and back surgery. It was time to. I knew I was going to retire from there, so it was time to move on.
Yeah, because that's kind of the goal, isn't it? You spend 20 years and then you can retire.
Yeah, when I started, it was you had to go a little bit longer. If I would have stayed, I think I could have retired in about 8 or 9 years from now. But that's probably not happening.
No, you already had all those surgeries and everything?
Yeah.
No. What do they do for that? Do they take you off the routes if somebody did stay? Or?
Yeah, you'd have to find something to do inside the office, and that wasn't appealing to me. It was time to move. I think it was, honestly, in hindsight, I think it was the Lord working things out to get me into real estate.
Yeah.
Because I had wanted to do this since I was in high school.
Okay.
And I just didn't because I had a kid early on and then wanted to get it scared me to do the 100% commission, but then I kind of got pushed into it, and I was selling things on my own. I was working on my own, so the natural next progression was jump into selling real estate, and it's been good for me.
How did you make that final decision? Okay, I'm gonna do what I've wanted to do since high school. How did you get past that barrier? Because that's a big barrier.
So I've got a driver personality, so I definitely I jump in feet first, and I'll figure things out as they go. I did do the I forget, it's like streamline class.
Okay.
Where instead of it being stretched out over going evenings or a couple days a week, I did it in 11 days straight.
Oh yeah, wow.
So I just pretty much jumped in head on, and from there, as soon as I got licensed, it was hit the phones and start getting business.
And that was going to be my next question, but you kind of answered a little bit. What did you do to get going? You hit the phones, it sounds like.
Exactly it, yeah. So things are different 8 years ago even than what they are today. The phones are a lot harder now, in my opinion, than what they were. I used to be able to sit there pretty much all day and have nothing but an endless stream of expires for sale by owners. A lot of people weren't calling back then. So I didn't have any other business going on. So it was just start calling people and get used to rejection pretty quick. And then it's when those yeses come that you kind of have to stop yourself, especially early on, and say, wait, did they say yes? Say, okay.
I better stop and go back. And
you might want to listen to what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, we get in habits. That's the issue.
Yeah.
It's easy.
So did you start with eXp, or who'd you start with?
Yeah, I actually started at Carpenter Realtors. It was good as far as the training goes, and I really appreciate them to that point. But I feel like each brokerage offers something a little bit different. It is as I started earning more and doing more on my own. I didn't have quite the need to get some of the training and things. I think for newer agents, a company like that is a really good fit. But for me at the time, it was time for me to be much more independent.
As you see people come into the business, what would you recommend to somebody? What should they do to get going? Because you said like right now there's no expireds because homes don't make it that far,
I
right?
was hopeful there was going to be more expireds this year, but it's just not turning out that way. It's really not. Things are like I said, it's really different right now. I feel like we're kind of in a transition period even this year, even with, I mean, the market's really kind of taken off. You guys have probably seen that
Yep.
again. But the inventory is really low, and there's a lot more agents now than what there were 8, 10 years ago. I mean, a lot more. So I think some of those are probably going to drop off. But I think that if somebody would attach to a company that would support them or a team and really get involved in it, the ones that I've seen that have succeeded, and you can tell after a while who's going to make it and who's not, are the ones that really have a need to succeed. For me personally, if I didn't sell a house, my kids weren't eating.
Right.
So it's really a big motivator to, you're calling till you get something. You're coming in on Saturdays, you're working Sundays, you're doing everything you need to do. People that don't necessarily have to do that, and it seems more like a hobby, they tend to fall on the wayside, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. It is so much. A motivator matters, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then it helps to have have a team that you have mentors when you're brand new, especially to have people who can help you and guide you. So you're also doing the right things.
Yeah. And I think early on, is when people are starting out, I was fortunate because I had one of the really good, close friend, Michelle McKnight at Carpenter, that kind of guided me to there. So that's the only place I was going to was Carpenter because I didn't want to just be handed a phone and told good luck.
Right.
I wanted that training. I wanted to learn because you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's one thing with DXP that they're really working on now is because we've bringing in a lot of people for newer agents. They really have to have somebody there with them, showing them what to do, guiding them. And we've got a mentor program, and they've really tried. They've seen that the model works for the agents that have more experience, but then the newer agents, they really need that guidance.
And do you have a team yourself?
I do. It's a small team. I'm not sure exactly what direction it's going right now. Because I do want to reach more people, and in my business, I'm seeing it's not like it was when I started out. We were in the office. You have that office atmosphere. Some of the teams are that way, but as I've been with the XP for a year and a half now, more and more everybody's doing things online with people's schedules, and then since COVID, everyone's gotten comfortable doing Zooms, working remotely, doing things online. That may be where it goes because I can actually scale that up versus the traditional team where I'm working with just a handful of agents and I've never wanted a big team anyways because of that.
So do you feel like the technology is helping connect people a little bit more, like with those Zoom calls, with people working from home, or would you rather, hey, I'd rather a few more people in the office with me?
That's fun. It's funny you ask that because we've had some turnover. I go to an office every day, so I do have office space. But we've had some turnover with different people in and out of offices. We've got 4 offices. There's another team in one, and then there's 2 that left. So really, it's just been myself and my team in there. And right now, the team's only 2 other people, so it's been kind of quiet. So there's pros and cons to it, I guess. But that's when I've kind of noticed too that you can get on Zoom meetings, and we do a lot of Google Meets. And to me, it feels the same as we're sitting here in front of each other. It's just I think we've all just gotten comfortable with it.
I would agree there.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that sometimes, like if you're a new agent, I think you need to be in the office.
I would agree with that. That's a good point. When I started, that was one thing, and that's one thing I always promoted a lot too, was telling people, even if you're not doing anything, come in, because in that office atmosphere, you're going to hear people doing deals. You're going to pick up on things. You may hear a phone conversation. There could be a lot of things I learned a lot just by making sure I was there every single day.
Right. It's not just hearing. You hear it, and then you can go after they're done and say, hey, what did you do that for? Why do you say that? And you can learn because there's so much involved in what we do as, I'll call it salespeople, but it's even just building those relationships. You have to say the right thing at the right time
Yeah.
in the right way,
Correct.
and it's not as simple as saying, here, say this every time. Well, it's not that simple.
This is what I meant with that shift is when, 20, 30 years ago, realtors had all the information. It was before my time, or probably longer than that, where they had the books, you had all the access to the keys. Now with the internet, with Zillow, the information is already out there. So we're not really holding the keys to all that information anymore. And I think we've kind of switched from, we're not really selling people, we're not really holding on to the information, and now we are more advisors, like you guys talk about with the mortgage company, advisors mortgage.
Right.
That it is more advising people, because there are things that most people aren't selling houses on the regular like we are, that we can actually walk them through, and we can see where there's weaknesses, or we can see where there's things that, let's go down this route, or maybe this is a better fit for you. There's a lot that goes on in the transaction that can help a client out and put them in a really good spot.
I agree. And I think a lot of sales jobs have become more an advisor role. I mean, for instance, Rick and I both came from the car industry. Mine was much closer to today's time, but
It was. No question.
But we know the same thing. Internet has changed it. People do the research before they even step into the place they're wanting to buy something from. So then it's just like, all right, so what are you looking for? Do you think this will meet your needs? What needs? And try and do that. But it's a different ball game for salespeople.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I just find it very interesting because I like it better today.
I do too.
Because I like being in more of a you're a partner with them, not trying to sell them something.
Yeah.
And so I know for us, it's all about education. We want to make sure they're educated and what's available and why this is better than, or not better, what is the positives of this, what's the positive of this, so they can make the correct decision, because we don't make the decision for them, they make the decision, but we have to educate them so they can make a decision, a very informed decision for themselves.
Yeah. The housing industry is really different than pretty much anything else. I mean, if I'm selling somebody a $5 widget, I can probably talk them into that.
Yes.
And then they're going to give you your $5, they're going to be gone.
Right.
The housing, if you talk someone into a home, there's going to be buyer's remorse. You've got a whole 30 to 45 day process that they're going to go through, that you're going to have a struggle the whole time. So I pride myself on, I'm not trying to sell you something here. I'm trying to get you, what do you need? What do you want? What's the best way to get you there and help you out financially even in that process, and just get them to that end result.
And how would somebody get a hold of you if they wanted to talk about real estate with you?
Yep, my cell phone is going to be the best way. It's 317-372-6147.
I got it. And
wow.
To get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call us at 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I feel good about myself.
I'd give you a gold star, but I don't know if you're ready for this next portion.
Well, that's always a problem, because I never am ready until you remind me. So, I was doing so well, and now you have to bring that up. Thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. While we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage, real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen. They find unrealized opportunities. If you're even thinking about buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's real estate gurus.
All right, Andy. So what do you think is one thing you learned early or later that you wish you would have learned earlier?
I think I learned later that I wish I would have learned earlier. Probably to keep working even during the times when you have pendings, when you have deals going on. Early on, I don't think I built that pipeline that I do now. That, you can have 10 pending properties, but if you're not trying to build that down the road business, that's going to dry up pretty quick. And then you're going to do what we call porpoising. You have really good months, and then things are going to die off. And, anytime we start with, everybody's in a different spot in the process of where they're going to buy or sell. But for me, when I get something, we're 30, 60, 90 days out from a paycheck every single time. So that can get a little bit challenging. Another thing I think a lot of people don't talk about, especially early on, is the financial side of it, and being able to manage your money properly, because that's something that's very different. That I think that a lot of people come into the real estate business thinking that it's like a regular 9 to 5 job, like it's an employment. And you really are running a business,
Right.
and that's where people need to maybe change that mindset a little bit, and be a little bit more proactive. And you may have a fantastic month here, but things can dry up pretty quick.
It can change very, very fast. It always has been interesting to me that because it can take some time, especially when I was in new home sales. So now you're talking a 6-month time frame. You could be just so busy and making no money, right? And then 6 months later, you're doing nothing and you're making lots of money because all that work you did ahead of time. And like you're saying, the key though is to keep it as consistent as you possibly can.
Yeah, a schedule is really important. If you know that you have to prospect, lead follow up during certain times of the day, that discipline, you just have to keep doing it. Even if you're killing it, having a great time, you still have to keep doing it. Deals fall through all the time too.
Yeah. Isn't that one of the hardest things though? You're killing it. You're doing great.
Yes. You want to break.
And
you want to stop for a minute. You're like, all right, let me breathe. But
yes. You can't do that.
You need to schedule in those breaks too.
Yes. Yeah. That is a weakness of mine. I don't do that.
No, he doesn't.
I don't tend to do that. And then it catches up with me and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm tired now,
Yeah. Well, that time will slip by real quick.
Yes.
And next thing you know, you look back and you've worked every day for the last 6 months.
Yeah. And the older I get, the harder it is.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
I think it's because Ian's here.
Yeah. I think no. It's old man, get off my lawn now.
Kids can get on my lawn. That doesn't bother me one iota. I'm never home. No, I wouldn't know. It's just a I don't it's a great question because I never thought about why it is. I've always been that way. Number one, when it's slow, and right now in our industry for mortgage people, it's slow, right? Because there's not many refinances going on, and there's what do we see? There's what 75% of the listings that we had last year at the same time. Yeah, we're down 25%.
This is one of the weirdest markets I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it is such a strange market right now.
And I had somebody contact me over the weekend, and they said, "Hey, we didn't get the house." This is the real estate agent telling me, "Hey, they didn't get the house. We offered on 2 houses, and one of them they all had multiple offers, and one of them went for 40 grand over list."
Yeah. And nobody expected that this year.
Well, I kind of told everybody that I didn't want to say yes, this is what's going to happen, but to me it was fairly. Our inventory is so low that when buyers are still there, that with low inventory, even with higher rates, and I think rates are coming down. I think it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
I still think this is a better time to buy than it's going to be. Or an easier time to buy than it's going to be in about 4 or 5 months.
I really didn't start seeing the bulk of the multiple offers until the last 2 or 3 weeks. That you start seeing, really April started, and then everybody came out of the woodwork. And I think everybody's gotten used to those rates now and seeing them, and they're just comfortable with them, and they are what they are. And I think people are waiting for a crash. They were waiting for the rates to come down. That's not happening. So now we got a whole another group of buyers jumping back in.
And what they saw in rates going up, they went up very, very quickly.
Yeah.
A little quicker than we normally see. But rates always go up faster than they come down. And people don't have that experience to know that that's what happens. So they're thinking, oh, they went way up, it's going to come down. Now, I saw something, I'm sure you saw it too, Ian. It was 71% of the people out there wants 5.5% or less. Rates aren't there.
I went under 2.
So I was going to say.
I don't know. I'd rather under 2 than 5, but
unfortunately, that's what's feeding some of the inventory issues. You have people that have those 3 or 4% rates that don't want to get out of that. So they don't want to sell their house, and we're just building another perfect storm here.
Yes, I agree, and it's going to be very interesting how this plays out.
Yeah, the pricing is what it is. It's just it's a weird market. I know it. I wish I could have more confidence when I talk to my clients, but I'm being honest with them. This is one of the strangest markets that I've seen, just trying to pinpoint. Because years past, that it's crazy, things are going wild. But right now, if a house is priced right and it shows well, it's getting multiple offers. If it's overpriced even a little bit and then it sits there for a little while, it may sit there for a long while for whatever reason. And then obviously if it's in rougher condition, we're just not seeing buyers that want to do any type of repairs like we did, even, our age group, my age group, that we would go in there and fix up houses.
Right.
Nobody really wants to do that nowadays.
So there's what I hear is there's opportunity there for people. If somebody wants to buy a house, if they'll come off the fact that it has to be perfect, because we have lending programs that you can make it perfect.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I think that is a good point. There are, I think, a group of buyers that think that this goes to my point of it being such a weird market, that people are thinking because everybody has a little different perception of the market right now. Some people think that I can't get into it because the rates are high. Well, they're really not traditionally.
Right.
Historically, they're right about where they normally are. Or they think that I'm going to get multiple offers. That may not be the case. They won't come down on that price. It's overpriced. So I'm going to go look at it. You don't know. That may not be the case. So there is a lot of opportunity out there for sure.
Yeah, and really, there's always opportunity in the market. It always amazes me to talk to different people like yourself, and all of a sudden you hear, like what you said. There's now a lot more agents in the business. I noticed that we talked to a lot of agents, and it was like they all started either right around 2008 or about 2019 and past. In between there, I know agents started. I'm not saying nobody's, but it had to be much lower because there just aren't that many of them out there that we run into anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. There was that opportunity in 2008.
Yeah.
And then 2019, I think everybody kind of caught on to it.
Yeah. Because 2008 was but I don't think, it was a tough time, but there were quite a few agents that started. Of course, there were some. We had one the other day, and he said that of all the people he started with, he looked around a month later and they were all gone. He was the only one still sitting in the office,
Yeah.
But I think the other part of that is it takes work. But when I said opportunity, what I mean is if somebody wants to buy a house, there are houses that are sitting. Mm-hmm. And what I heard you say, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that a lot of the reasons they're sitting is either they're overpriced or they need work.
Yeah.
So if somebody's willing to do the work, they should be able to buy a house at a lower price.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And so then there should be, and you're not bidding, you're not bidding more.
That's the strangeness of the market, is that you'll have those homes that are still getting those multiple offers, and then something that's, I would say, is fairly similar, but maybe it went on the market a month ago, that people, it's this herd mentality sometimes, and then people are just not wanting to jump on a house, or they think there's something wrong with it, or they missed something. It's very weird.
It's interesting. And
I like weird.
Yeah. And I think that's also why they need a guru real estate agent.
Yeah.
Part of why they need you.
That's the advisor role that we take on. Yeah.
Yes.
We can guide them through it. I'm confident that no matter what the market is, that I can walk anybody through it. And I like the challenge of the different markets. I like to be able to get creative and think outside the box and find ways that others may not do it to help my clients out.
Yeah, it's just a bizarre. But if people will get solid guru agents, they can get through this.
Oh yeah,
and they can get through it well.
Yeah.
And so when somebody is looking for an agent, what would you say they should look for? What kind of personality or traits or characteristics they should look for in an agent before they hire them?
Yeah, the experience is definitely important, especially right now. But somebody that has that's going to take care of the client first. I know a lot of people can say that, but you should be able to tell fairly quickly when you're talking to them. Somebody that you can trust. So I think a lot of people use their family members. But, sometimes you can't really trust your family members. But I finding somebody that is service first, that is taking care of the clients above all else.
Yeah, that's critical.
Well, you had to sum it up pretty easy. They need to search for an agent called Andy Ludlow. Quick and easy.
Yeah, let's do it right there.
But it's funny because Ian has, we've all had family that you trust, you don't trust, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you have I never think that way. I just think that if it's family, they're probably going to use family. But sometimes you don't want family to know your business, and those kind of things. I always find it interesting because we get that in mortgages a lot, right? They don't want us to know. Nobody wants everybody to know their finances. And then the reality is, we do it every day. I mean, I can't remember anybody's
Right.
finances.
Yeah.
In fact, if it's a family, if I can avoid looking at it, I don't even look at it.
Yeah.
I just I avoid it. My wife laughs because friends or family will tell her, "Hey, we're financing with Rick," and she'll go, "Really?" Because I don't tell her. I just keep
how
it
it should
quiet.
be, though, right?
Right. That's my opinion. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
So as you are you have a team. So as you hire somebody or look for somebody for your team, what do you look for?
They really need to be coachable. That's one thing. If somebody comes in and knows everything, I mean, they're going to really struggle no matter who they're with. Having integrity, being honest. There's that whole having some trust that if they trust the process and they follow through on the process, that they're going to have that success. You can cut corners in this business, and I've seen people do it. They usually don't last very long or get a really bad reputation. So, I mean, there's the integrity and somebody's personality is going to be a big piece of it. And then definitely they need to have a reason why they want to do it. Because if it's just to make money, that you're probably not going to do well either. I mean, you can for a little while, but you'll burn out. You won't be able to get through the ups and downs of it.
And are you looking to hire currently? Are you looking to add to your team?
Somewhat. So with EXP, we have a little bit different setup with our downline, and that is something that they have with the mentor program. So there's a few different ways that I'm looking to go. If I have someone in my downline, I can help them and not have to be 100% responsible for them, and I can really kind of push them in that direction. One thing for me that I wanted to do, because I see in the industry a lot, is that agents don't want to be quite as forthcoming with information, especially on teams or at certain brokerages. They want to hold back on some of the information because they know that if an agent has this information, they may leave either that team or that brokerage. So I want to be as upfront with people as I can. I'm not as I can, I just am. So then I can someone has all the information that I was held in the dark on some things that I wish I would have known earlier than when I figured them out. So I'd like to be that person to help people along the way there. And if I have somebody in the downline, it does allow me to reach out to people that are different sides of the town. They don't have to really come into the office, and then we can meet over Zoom. We meet as a team once a week, and then have individual training throughout that as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if somebody's looking to either talk to you about buying or selling their home, or if they just want to talk to you about real estate and possibly getting into it, how will they get a hold of you?
The phone number's going to be this way. It's 317-372-6147.
Can they text or call?
They can text or call.
What's your preference?
I really don't have a preference. Yeah, if you call, I'll answer unless I'm talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to talk anymore, but I can text with the best of them.
That's good. And to get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com or 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
And remember to subscribe to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. Now, let's do the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates through the whole loan process. Nobody likes to be left out in the dark inside of a black hole. So contact us and we'll be more than happy to keep you in the loop with everything going on. So the question I have for you, what was your first car?
Like this question. It's a 1976 Ford Torino, baby blue. Yeah, that was a beast.
Yeah,
something different.
Ford Torino. Wasn't that what Starsky and Hutch drove?
Yeah, but I think it was a different model because this was an old grandma car. It literally was the car that the grandma drove to the church on Sundays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I paid like $1,000 for it.
But it's a great car.
Oh, I love that thing. I blew it up though by driving away. I mean, it's a V8, so it would get up too. It was all front end. It obviously had a back seat, but that front end was it. That was crazy. But I mean, you could hit bumps and you wouldn't feel it. I was driving through Beech Grove Park, probably going too fast and hit speed bump, and the battery jumped and hit the top of the hood, and it shot the electrical.
Oh, really?
After that, yeah, it caught on fire right there, and that was all.
Wow.
Yeah.
You must not have had that battery secured down.
No. Well, the thing was so big, I think you could have crawled in there.
Yeah, I know. I heard a
mechanic talking the other day.
Says what he doesn't like. he said, I remember when you could get in next
Yeah.
to the, you could get inside the engine bay
Yeah.
and work on the car. Now you can't even get your hand between the car and the side
Yeah.
or in the engine.
Well, it was all steel too. I mean, you couldn't. It took a lot to hurt that thing.
Yeah.
I was driving to work one day on again near Beech Grove, but I hit some ice and just kept sliding until I hit a retaining wall, and it bounced it so hard, and I thought for sure I'd like shattered that whole side. It didn't even scratch it. It did absolutely nothing. I probably messed up the wall more than anything to the car.
It's interesting though. You take the old cars; their bodies lasted forever. The engine's not so well, but the bodies lasted forever. Now you get cars that their engines last forever, and one little ounce of sand hits your car, and the front bumper falls off.
Everything's falling apart around you. You can reach outside the window to open your door.
Can I get both those just mixed together?
But how many people have we talked to where we asked that question and the car's blown up or burned up? Or it's amazing how many people. And once her car died, she just left it on the side of the road and walked away.
Yeah, but usually your first car is not the cream of the crop. Usually it's that cheapo that you had to buy. Just here's $500. All right, let's go buy it.
Yeah,
it's why I love it, because it was an inexpensive car, and yet most of us, me included, loved that first car.
Oh yeah,
it had
it's
a special
your first taste of freedom.
Yes,
that real freedom that I can go anywhere, I can do anything. Yeah.
Before I could drive, I got a bicycle. I bought my own bicycle, and I thought that was it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got on my bicycle after I got my driver's license,
That's a good point.
it killed the desire to ride.
Yeah, I had paper routes growing up. I mean,
Did you?
I've been working since I was 6, but yeah, I think that when I got my license and I was able to drive, I was driving the paper routes that I used to ride the bike on.
Ah,
yeah.
So that brings up a question, I guess. So obviously paper route, then your mail carrier, all that's kind of similar. How did what you learned doing like mail carrying, how did that, did any of it transfer over into real estate?
I mean, a little bit, maybe some smaller things. I feel like I can find an address.
Oh, yeah.
Because the streets are numbered on north and south, and I don't know how many people nowadays know that. And then just knowing some of the areas because of that. I started off, if anybody knows where Brightwood is.
Yeah.
That was my first, and I was in Linwood and then in Southport. So know those areas really well. You talk to a lot of people during that time as well when you're out there carrying mail. We're the face of the post office, so that they would talk to us all the time. So you'd build some of those relationships, and I guess that would be helpful as well.
Yeah. That I figured there had to be a way. I just couldn't connect it. So that's.
I think every job we all have kind of leads to where we are.
Yes, it does.
Today, there's something that happened along the way. Even carrying mail with having the paper routes. I was delivering stuff. You're basically filing stuff in people's mailboxes is all you're doing.
Yeah.
So as soon as when you switch from doing the post office to doing real estate, did you go to your old route and be like, hey, I now do real estate. I do real estate, and hit every one of those houses?
No. Well, let me think. I'm trying to think if there's any people I knew that I actually sold for. There's some letter carriers that I worked with that are clients, and some of their family members. So that was beneficial. I don't think I'd have to go back and look. I mean, I sold a lot of homes. I don't think I had anybody on my route, but I probably should have.
Yeah. A couple weeks before he leaves, he's dropping off flyers.
Well, there was a bit of a gap there. I left the post office in 2011 and got licensed in 2015.
Oh, yeah. So you could have done that. Yeah. That makes a difference.
Yeah.
And then that 4 years is when you were selling
eBay, Amazon,
Yeah. A lot of people have done that. Was it good at the time, or?
Yeah, I think nowadays it's a little bit different because you used to be able to find things in the stores that you couldn't find online, and you find it cheaper in the stores, so you could sell it for more online. And there's enough apps and things out there now that's not. It's probably not as easy to do today as it was then.
So, what would you say your superpower or superpowers are?
Superpowers. You had mentioned this. It's one of those things that you don't want to. It's a humble brag that it sounds weird until somebody else says it to you, and it's serving others. I think that is my superpower because I do enjoy that. I mean, above all else, my philosophy is that I'm going to serve them. I'm going to help them through it, and then a natural end to that, I'm going to get paid. I'm not really thinking about my pay during that process. And I just know, I trust that at the end of that, it's going to come about. So if I put everyone else's needs first, mine's just naturally going to happen at the end of that.
Right.
But like I said, I don't like saying that because it's almost like bragging about how humble you are. And that just doesn't quite sit right.
Yeah, but the whole thought process, and Rick and I have had this conversation because we basically do it too, is if you take care of people,
Yes.
you don't worry about the money. You take care of people, the money will come.
And the more people you take care of, the more money you're going to
Yes,
make.
but the ultimate goal is no matter if it's a house for $50K or a house for $1.5 million, does it really matter? No, because you're going to treat the people the same.
Yeah.
Just treat people the right way.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a golden rule.
Yeah.
I would if all I could afford was a $50,000, $100,000 house, I would want to be treated with respect and treated the same way as someone that's buying $1 million property. So I treat everybody exactly the same.
Because they're just as important.
Yeah. And everybody is really ultimately the same.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yeah. And the other part is if you treat everybody like they should be treated, very, very well, you take care of them, you do everything you can for them, you're worried about them, that's where your business grows and comes from, right? Because you can't spend your entire life doing cold calls. I guess you can, but that's a tougher way to do it than referrals.
I don't enjoy it, and I don't do it to the degree I did early on, because that was the whole point, was to do it early on, build the business, and then you want those referrals, you want those repeat customers. Right. So you don't have to do that as much.
Right. Yeah, it's vitally important. I always looked at it as kind of, I'm trying to climb a mountain, and pushing a snowball up a mountain kind of was how I looked at it. And, you push it up and it's tough. And then when you get over a hill and it rolls down and things are going great, and then you hit the bottom of the hill, and now you got to push up again. And you're always working. At some point, though, you get to the top.
Yeah.
And when you get to where you want to be and you've done all the right things, then you're going down the mountain and everything goes really well. Not that there aren't still some times it slows down, but everything works out.
Yeah, that is a good analogy. And I do not call quite as much, anywhere near what I used to. I mean, it would be 6-7 hours a day for that first year, and now it might be 6 or 7 hours a month. Yeah. So when things do get slow, I'm definitely keeping in touch with clients, past clients. If that's more of it, keeping those relationships alive.
Those are more important calls.
Them, yes, yeah.
They're more productive calls.
Yes.
And don't your clients love it when you contact them, as long as it's not too often?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
They enjoy hearing from you because you're important to them, and you build such a great relationship with them.
Yeah. And I don't call asking them for business as much as I always try to provide some sort of value to them and, give them some update on the market, or maybe I heard something about their neighborhood. I'll give them something along those lines. And I just let you remember I'm in real estate.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Well, I know that in my neighborhood, I don't know, your area may be the same way, that everybody, if there's a house that goes up for sale, everybody wants to know how much what it is, and everybody wants to know what it sold for. So to me, and I'm surprised agents don't do this anymore, but there used to be agents that would, they would take an area, farm an area, but they would always keep you updated. Maybe they still do, it's just not in my neighborhood. And they keep people updated all the time. That's valuable. One of the guys I worked with, he actually sponsored that for the real estate agent, and he said it was extremely valuable. He got he got lots of leads off of it because people care about that information.
Yeah. I don't know that people do that quite as much, like you said. I think it's because it does take some time to build up in that farm. I will call neighborhoods that when I do call, it's just listed just sold calls over expireds and FSBOs right now, because it just tends to be a little easier conversation. But maybe that's something I need to get busy doing again. Huh?
And maybe they look it online.
That's what I was going to say.
They look it up online.
It's already there.
Yeah, because you can basically just get an estimated value pretty darn quick. Where back if you say 2004, 2005, that information wasn't fully available. So it was probably easier for real estate agents to go, hey, look, just so you know, this house over here just sold for 204. And they're like, wow, really? I wonder what I can get for mine. And then so that raised the buzz. And now I can type in 30 seconds. My house roughly appraises for this. Okay.
Yeah. Or they already saw the house was for sale.
Yeah, now it's really hard. Yeah, now it's really
been on Zillow and Realtor.com.
Really tough. But it's from when they sell it to when it shows up is a different time, and so to know what it sold for, but then it's not actually closed yet. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who look it up, but there's also a lot of people who just, they never do. So getting something that says, oh, that's what it was, could be, I don't know. I don't know if it could be valuable or not. Seems like it
Yeah,
might
we
be.
talked to a lot of. I think everybody's kind of a different spot on
Yeah.
that. Like my parents have been in their home for I think almost 40 years now, so they were shocked when they started. They would see houses down the street selling for $200,000-$300,000. They're like, "What? There's no way that they're going to get that, and it's selling." I'm like, "Mom, you have no idea."
Right. Yeah, it changes.
So, what would you think one of your most memorable deals was?
Oh man, I mean they're all memorable. One that so I won't get into all the details on it, but I picked up one. Probably I was probably only about 30 deals into my career that I was able to. It was actually a friend from the post office that he wanted a house, wanted it really bad. Well, the agent he was working with before, they were trying to get them in. The house needed a lot of work, and they were trying to get them in with just a traditional mortgage. And I don't know why they didn't try with the 203K.
Yep.
I don't know why they didn't try that at all, but that was one of the. I was able to get it back together, and they got the house. They're still in it today.
Awesome.
So that was a good one. Just being able to come in and pick up the pieces, and they've been a fan since. So it's been a good one.
They probably really appreciate what you did for them.
Yeah. That's an awesome house too. Yeah. What it was.
And it shows you the difference between having somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And cares about them and listens and then goes, okay, this is going to be a better option.
Yeah, because they had told them that there's no way you can't get it. It's just impossible. The mortgage is done, and they were wanting to go find something else. And then they said they had just found out I was in real estate and gave me a call, and we got them taken care of.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So what does and I know there's no normal day, but what would as normal day as possible be for in the life of a real estate agent? If somebody's looking to get into the business, what would they think is going to happen?
Well, there's not a normal day, but people need to have a schedule if they want to do it and they want to get serious about it. And then starting out is going to be different than where I'm at in my career now. Your mornings, you need to be prospecting, whether that's calling friends and family, calling people you don't know. And on what they want to do, you probably got a couple hours of that in the morning. And then as you build that up, you're going to have your lead follow-up. Afternoons are for appointments, appointments and showings. You're going to be working probably weekends. My schedule's hectic right now, and it's just part of the deal. I try and take the weekends off as much as I can, but I know my Saturdays and Sundays are basically by appointment. So if somebody wants to do something on a Saturday or Sunday, we're planning it out. I'm not just jumping on a weekend at this point. But it took a long time to build up to that.
Right.
So,
yeah. You can't just start in the business and do that.
No, you're going to be working weekends
Yeah.
and nights. Yeah. And I take 2 nights that are my late nights because there are people that have to have, 8:00 appointment. My Tuesdays and Thursdays are usually it for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Well, I came out of the car business. I don't know if it still was this way when you were in it, but they had late nights.
Yeah.
Because there's people who need to come in after, 5:00, right? After 6. So you got to be there.
Late nights. Every night is a late night nowadays. It was like 8:00 every single night. It's one reason I was like, all right, I gotta think of something a little different.
Well, the housing, the mortgage and realtor side, it's such a weird thing because I've tried to work through the winter time, and you're going to have deals going on when it's cold out. But in years past, I always bump my head against the wall and get frustrated because things aren't going on. But we really are a cyclical business. I mean, that's something we just have to understand. So if I'm going to take some time off, I'm trying to take it off November, December, maybe January. And then February through October, I'm going to be out there hustling and do as much as you can during that time because that's going to be your bread and butter. That's when most people are buying houses.
Yeah. My problem, this is my problem with all of that is that if it's slow, I got to work to get it going.
Yeah.
If it's busy, I got to work to keep up.
It's a different work though, because a lot of my business that came in February and March was from working in September and October. It's just I've got to wrap my head around it, not get frustrated, and it's a different work.
So you and I have the same problem. That's what I do.
Oh, well,
yeah, it's a different work, and you should when it's that way, you should be able to walk away and take a little bit of time off.
Yeah,
right.
You got to forgive yourself
because everybody needs it.
Yeah, I heard the analogy, and I have to remind myself. So maybe this will help you. Is that when you're chopping down the tree, if you keep hitting it, you're going to make that axe head dull. If you don't stop and sharpen that, it's once you do sharpen that again, you're going to be a lot more effective.
Yeah.
So taking a little bit of time off is really good, and it's beneficial.
Knocks the tree down faster too,
It does.
probably.
Yep. You come back in and you're ready to go. And
So when you do take a little bit of time for yourself, what do you catch yourself doing?
it's still working somehow.
Well, that access is getting sharper.
Yeah. No, we do. We like to take trips. Sometimes they are around real estate, going to different seminars and things. But I actually like we go hiking, or we'll take some small trips just to get out of town for a little bit. We go to Florida a lot, and if I can just sit there and do nothing for a week, that's some of the most enjoyable. Just grab a book and try and just shut your brain off for a few days or something is really good.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Tough to do sometimes.
If somebody needed to get a hold of you for any real estate needs, or maybe they want to talk to you about coming into real estate, how would they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Phone number, they can call me or they can text me, 317-372-6147.
Perfect. And if you need to get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
Good job. And
Thank you.
reminder for if you know any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, contact Rick or I. We'll be more than happy to help them.
And please follow us on online. Have a great day.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.